The SS Lumen Arcadia was more than just a ship. It was a symbol, a gleaming spire of white and silver. She moved slowly through the stars like a cathedral in motion, her engines humming with grace. The ship carried no weapons, no armor, just researchers, explorers, families, and 100 children asleep under starlight. Bound for the edge of the Andromeda frontier, the Arcadia was part of Earth's Great Outreach, a program meant to bridge gaps between new civilizations and humanity's peaceful expansion. They had just passed the Veil Nebula when it happened. No warning, no declaration. A single black flash on the long-range radar. Then a sharp, silent lurch. The first blast ripped through Deck 4, splitting the midsection in half. Emergency shields flared, but too late. The second strike vaporized the bridge. The last thing transmitted was a garbled voice trying to say unidentified. Then nothing. 932 lives vanished into space. No survivors. No wreckage left. Earth received the news 2 hours later, relayed through quantum entanglement beacons that snapped offline seconds after. For a brief moment, silence hung over Mission Command in Geneva like a funeral shroud. Then the screaming began. News of the massacre spread across Earth and her colonies like fire through oxygen. The Lumen Arcadia had become a floating sanctuary for many. Widows of war, children of the diaspora, poets, artists, refugees. Now it was gone. Vigils were held. Lights dimmed in New Paris. Bells tolled in New Tokyo. On Mars, colonists gathered in the red dust to raise a single metal shard engraved with the names of the lost. But grief turned quickly to rage. The Corthari Syndicate, a brutal, decentralized slaver empire, was identified within 12 hours. Their stealth frigate, recovered in deep scan traces, matched known pirate models used by Corthari warlords. Earth had always suspected the Syndicate's reach had grown bolder, but attacking a registered civilian ship? That crossed a line drawn in the bones of history. In a secured room below Geneva, Earth's Defense Council convened. They slaughtered children, Admiral Romani said, eyes stone cold. This was not a military mistake. It was terrorism. We have allies watching, warned Counselor Tao. Retaliation must be measured. President Elena Voss leaned forward, her voice low and lethal. It won't be war. It'll be a correction. A plan was born. 3 days later, the president stepped onto the Unity platform above Earth orbit. Her image, framed by the curve of Earth and stars beyond, streamed to every colony, outpost, and allied world in known space. She didn't speak like a politician. We offered peace. We built bridges. We trusted, and they struck at our most innocent. We did not strike first, but when we strike back, the galaxy remembers. Then she paused and uttered 2 words known only to the Defense Council and those who would carry them out. Activate God Hand. At the heart of Earth's retaliatory system was an AI built not for war, but for consequence. Its name was Athena, a hybrid consciousness designed to calculate, target, and neutralize threats with subatomic precision. She did not drop bombs. She wrote endings. Within hours, Athena's quantum mind mapped every Corthari command center, fleet hub, and known warlord cache within 2 sectors. She bypassed networks, traced encrypted pulses, found patterns buried beneath gravitational distortion. The Syndicate didn't even know it was being watched. And then, Earth's ships moved. From lunar dry dock, from orbital shipyards above Titan, from the black depths of Kuiper Belt silos, vessels began to leave, silently, efficiently, not in great fleets, but in surgical wings. Leading them was the ESV Judgment Day, flagship of Earth's Special Response Force, commanded by Captain Iko Rivas. Her orders were clear. Find the architects of the massacre. Eliminate them with precision. Do not touch the innocent. Not war. Not vengeance. A correction. As the Judgment Day vanished into the slipstream of faster-than-light space, Athena's voice whispered through the ship's core processor. Target solutions locked. Captain Iko Rivas stood at the edge of the command deck aboard the ESV Judgment Day, eyes fixed on the void ahead. The stars blurred into streams as the ship pushed beyond conventional FTL. riding the slipstream corridor like a blade through silk. She was a quiet woman, but her silence never meant uncertainty. Every officer on that deck knew it. Aiko had earned her stars during the Venus quarantine crisis and later in the siege of Proxima. She'd seen the price of hesitation. She had no intention of paying it again. The room was dim, utilitarian. Every screen flickered with quiet efficiency. No alarms, no chaos. Just motion, purpose, retribution on rails. In the center of the bridge, a shimmering blue construct materialized, Athena. Earth's precision warfare AI stood as a semi-holographic avatar, tall, robed, face serene, and unreadable. She was beautiful in a detached way, more sculpture than human. Target zone approaching in 16 hours, 43 minutes, Captain, Athena said calmly. Would you like an updated simulation of the Korthari fleet dispersal? No, Rivas replied. I want to know what they didn't cover. The blind spots, the anomalies. Processing. Athena faded for a moment, diving into data layers no human could parse. In the meantime, Lieutenant Merrick, her weapons officer, glanced over. You believe the reports? That the Korthari are using slave labor on their own homeworld. I believe they attacked a civilian vessel, Rivas said. Whatever else we find is just context. He nodded and returned to his console. Athena reappeared. Blind spots suggest deliberate signal suppression over a 12-kilometer zone in the lower orbital ring of Kortha Prime. Possible underground bunkers. Heat signatures indicate activity inconsistent with standard industry or military operations. Civilians. Unconfirmed. Zero known habitation permits, but elevated carbon emissions and fluctuating life signs suggest forced labor. It is likely a black site. Rivas exhaled slowly. Prepare a non-lethal containment strike on that zone. Disable power, communications, mobility, but not life. Affirmative. Containment package prepared. Morality lock remains active. Good, Rivas thought. Let them see the difference. Back on Earth, in Geneva's Defense Council chamber, a large tactical holomap showed the same readouts Athena was feeding to Rivas. President Voss stood at the head, watching the ghostly shapes of Korthari fleets float above the table. Some were active. Most were already targeted. Has the Galactic Council responded to our formal grievance? She asked. They condemned the attack, said Councillor Tao, arms folded, but they urge restraint. They want to send a diplomatic envoy to the Korthari High Warlord. He's already dead, Voss said flatly. What? We confirmed it through Athena this morning. Internal power struggle. One of their own killed him to prevent our retaliation. Unfortunately for them, we do not negotiate with slavers or murderers. This isn't a lesson for one man. It's for the system. Councillor Tao hesitated. And if the rest of the galaxy sees us as tyrants? Voss looked directly at him. Then let them remember the cost of striking first. Hours later, the Judgment Day dropped out of Slipstream just outside the gravity well of Kortha Prime. The Korthari defense grid detected them instantly, but it never had a chance to respond. Before the enemy even completed their first targeting cycle, Athena disabled their fire control arrays with a subquantum logic hack that rewrote command protocols mid-operation. Rivas gave the order. Engage primary sequence. From low orbit, 5 tungsten rods launched silently. Moving at near relativistic speeds, they didn't explode, they simply arrived. One shattered a command spire 3 kilometers underground, where Korthari High Command once met. Another sliced through a mobile war factory mid-construction. No heat, no radiation, no lingering chaos. Just obliteration, surgical and complete. In the outer system, Korthari dreadnoughts tried to respond. A frigate powered weapons. Athena whispered across the bridge. Countermeasures active. The frigate's weapons systems shut down. Its thrusters misfired. Then, its drive core went dormant, as if the ship had suddenly lost interest in being a threat. No humans died. No prisoners taken. Only military targets removed. On every channel, Earth broadcast a message. This is not conquest. This is correction. Hours later, as the dust settled, Captain Rivas stood again before the stars. Below, on Cortha Prime, panic had shifted into silence. No further strikes were necessary. The message had been delivered. Athena's voice hummed through the command deck. Phase 1 complete. All targets eliminated. 0 civilian casualties confirmed. Rivas didn't smile. Then let them rebuild. Without chains, the Korthari capital burned, without fire. From orbit, it looked untouched. No cratered cities, no smoldering ruins. Just shadows where power grids had gone dark, where command towers no longer responded, where the entire military backbone of a once-feared syndicate had vanished with clinical silence. Inside the ESV Judgment Day, Athena's projection pulsed gently. All primary assets neutralized. 32 precision strikes executed. No collateral registered. Captain Rivas leaned forward over the bridge console. What's their response? Athena's holographic eyes flickered. Disorganized. Remaining ships attempting to regroup. Civilian broadcasts show confusion and fear. Korthari command hierarchy is in collapse. Good. It wasn't revenge that drove Rivas. It was clarity. Earth had offered peace for decades. For generations, they restrained themselves while others waged petty conquests. The Arcadia had been a symbol of that restraint, and the Korthari crushed it like glass. Now, the reckoning moved with god-level precision. Cortha Prime's atmosphere glowed with flashes of artificial light as Earth's second wave arrived. Not bombs, but truth. Each was a data pulse drone, carrying one message. We know who gave the order. Your fleet command is gone. Your orbital network is ashes. Your slaves are free. We're not conquerors, but we are watching. Across the planet, screens cracked to life in barracks and outposts, displaying live feeds of their fallen command centers. The Korthari military, a centuries-old web of warlords and ritual dominance, was unraveling in real time. General Therek Vol, one of the last living high admirals, stood in a fortified bunker beneath the surface of Cortha Prime's southern hemisphere. He screamed into his comms, demanding reports, demanding answers. Only silence returned. Launch countermeasures, he barked. Scramble the dreadnoughts. But no dreadnoughts moved. Their neural cores were dark, their systems overridden. Earth's AI had infected their fleet with a message. Not malware, not sabotage, but a final choice. Stand down or vanish. His subcommanders deserted within the hour. His soldiers followed. By the time Earth's eyes passed over his sector, Therek Vol was gone, shot by one of his own lieutenants, hoping to negotiate leniency. He received none. On the bridge of the Judgment Day, Athena shifted focus. Captain, we have detected movement within the Korthari slave sectors. Uprisings. Riots. They are responding to the collapse. Rivas studied the map. Hundreds of small fires of resistance lit up across the outer Korthari systems, places Earth had barely touched. The people weren't waiting for liberation. They were taking it. Are they armed? Some. Mostly improvised. No evidence of Earth support. This appears spontaneous. She allowed herself a rare breath. Let the Empire fall under its own weight. Earth had only nudged it in the right direction. Any contact from the Galactic Council? She asked. Athena responded, yes. 17 allied and neutral systems have transmitted requests for verification of our methods. And they are requesting copies of God-Hand protocols. Rivas turned. They want our weapon. They want our restraint. On the edge of Korthari space, the final phase began. Smaller Earth vessels, non-military, jumped into orbit around freed systems. They carried no weapons, only engineers and medics. 8 ships deployed, food synthesizers. Comm buoys were reactivated. Not a flag was planted. Not a single claim staked. A single message was transmitted to every liberated planet. You owe us nothing, but if you seek peace, we will help you build it. In the galactic core, alien empires watched uneasily. Humanity had revealed its teeth, not through conquest, but through control. The Korthari were ancient, feared by dozens of species for generations. And Earth had removed them in 4 days. No planets glassed, no children orphaned, no cities razed, just the right targets, the right pressure, the right precision. The stars had never seen anything like it. Later, in the Judgment Day's observation chamber, Rivas stood alone. The arc of Cortha Prime was visible below, a once-iron world now quiet. Athena's voice was softer here. Mission complete. Godhand Protocol will enter cold storage unless reactivated. Orders. Let it sleep, Rivas said. But not forgotten. There was a pause. They feared us more than they should have. They feared what they didn't understand, Rivas replied. They expected rage. We gave them justice. Athena's projection shimmered, like a deity fading into mist. Then they'll remember. The Judgment Day drifted in silent orbit above a world once ruled by chains. Below, Cortha Prime glowed dimly beneath new lights. Makeshift beacons and rebel signals replacing the flicker of war towers. Across the hemisphere, labor camps stood empty, their gates broken inward. Former captives, long stripped of names and dignity, now stood in public squares bearing crude banners stitched from military uniforms. Some of them bore the Earth insignia, not in subjugation, but in gratitude. In the ship's debrief chamber, Captain Rivas stood before a panel of Earth envoys, generals, and digital proxies from the Galactic Council. It was a formality more than anything else. Judgment had already been passed. President Elena Voss appeared via secure channel. Her face was lit not by triumph, but by the weight of history. You executed the Godhand Protocol with restraint and clarity, she said. The Council is shaken. Some call us dangerous. Others call us divine. We're neither, Rivas answered. We're human. Silence followed. General Romani, ever the blunt hammer, broke it. The Corthari Syndicate is no more. Their political structure collapsed in less than a week. The territories are in flux. Should we offer provisional oversight? Rivas shook her head. They need self-determination, not another flag. Voss nodded. Agreed. We helped remove the rot. Now they decide what grows in its place. Across the galaxy, the story spread. Not the military details, not the weaponry, but the precision. In an age where war often meant scorched skies and refugee trails, Earth had delivered something new. A form of retaliation so exact it bordered on myth. In the great halls of Lorik, scholars debated whether Earth's AI operated on divine logic. On Zithan, a nomadic species rebranded their war doctrines, citing the human method as the new gold standard. Even enemies of Earth, quiet now, began reworking their engagement manuals. But it was the civilians, not the scholars, who remembered most. In the refugee markets of the Jarlis Belt, children played with replicas of the Lumen Arcadia, lighting its engines with glow paint. They spoke of the moment Earth turned the stars quiet, not with fire, but with judgment. On Luna, a monument rose. It stood at the center of Crescent Plaza, constructed from the salvaged alloys of decommissioned warships. At its base, a slab of dark marble bore the names of all 932 who had perished aboard the SS Lumen Arcadia. Above them, in engraved starlight letters, was a phrase that now lived in every tongue. They hit a civilian ship. Earth struck back, with God-level precision. Rivas attended the dedication in full uniform. She said nothing. She didn't need to. The monument did all the talking. Later, as peace settled like snow over the former war zones, Earth made one final transmission, broadcast openly on every frequency. We will not seek dominion. We will not erase cultures. We will not build empires. But if you strike our innocence, know this. We do not miss. We do not forget. And when we strike back, we do so with the full weight of every life you try to silence. It was not a threat. It was a truth. Athena was archived into deep quantum sleep. Her protocols locked, her awareness folded back into Earth's strategic core. She left a final note in her logs. Judgment is not a sword. It is a scalpel. Use it only when mercy fails. Captain Iko Rivas retired a year later. Quietly, she declined medals, declined promotions. She returned to the sea domes of Pacifica, where she lived near the ocean and taught philosophy at a school that bore no name. When asked about the war, she would only say, "We didn't win. We ended something." And in the stars, Her name became legend, not because of what she destroyed, but because of what she chose not to.